Marie's going to kick your ass.
Oh, yay. She already has once before. I'm ready for it again, I think.
No, like
Maria. She's like, no.
loving way. In the most Paula's experienced this in the most beautiful, loving way, but I'm not available for you to not think that you are anywhere behind where Paula is or myself or anything, because you are the divine sitting there looking at me.
Wild Rose! Wild Rose!
Oh, look at us.
Look at us. The sisters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Maria and I
sister. Why is that?
So Maria and I always say that we're sisters.
Yes.
We are.
I can see.
You're
Definitely,
like
I can feel
now.
that.
We're like triplets here.
Yeah, we are. We're triplets. Welcome to this week's episode of The Wild Roads, conversations about how we don't do stuff normal. Today, we have the amazing Hot Jesus herself. We refer to her as HJ. She is. She's Hot Jesus. Maria Portas, also aka my sister from another mister. Before we get into the beautiful world of Maria Portas, we like to start off our podcast with hashtag awkward question time. This is like just an icebreaker question we ask, a bit of fun, get the conversation flowing. The question we would love to ask you, Maria, is if you could reincarnate on Earth at any time, like past, present, future, who would you reincarnate as, or what would you reincarnate as?
Okay. Okay, this takes me back and it doesn't end well and all the things, but I feel him so much that I would want to reincarnate as Jesus, because I just feel him and know him so much. And I feel like I have experienced him in different lifetimes, like the man Jesus, and people have actually told me that I have.
Wow.
Yeah, like okay, let's just go there. Let's
there is an amazing story.
You know how I do life purpose readings and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
And reveal exactly what God created you to be here on this planet and your energy and you represent and exactly why you were created. Well, there's someone that does it in like Bible times, and not that everyone has experience being in the Bible times, but if you're called to that, you probably have. And she does these readings of your Akashic records, but then she actually says who you are in the Bible. And I've appeared twice in the Bible, and who she says I was in the Bible was Mary Magdalene, like the partner of Jesus, the woman that Jesus fell in love with, and I've always had this beautiful connection. I've always said, but it's not like what they teach in religion. I've always felt like I knew Jesus the man, like that's what I experienced, the spirit of Jesus the man, right? And so yeah, I think if I don't know, I just want to experience him but I feel like I do in this lifetime, it would just be experiencing his body. But I feel like I do experience that connection with God that he had is like what I experienced. But that would be, I don't think there's anyone else I'd rather experience the sense of that. The sense of that, because I love that man so much. It was just and when she told me that, it was like I had a whole remembrance of the love that we experienced. My parents' relationship made so much sense because they were just, I thought the world was like that, and they taught us how to love, and they were just so wonderful. And you know, and people used to say my dad was like Jesus. He helped so many people, but also Jesus was a real man. He loved, you know, he lived, he drank wine, he celebrated, he just was life, you know. And I'm not talking about, you know, when I say these words, Jesus, God, whatever, everybody comes with their concept, like drop all that, because it's just the realness, just like you are real, like Paula's real, Shona's real, like all of us. But it's just the knowing that he had. but we all have that within us. It wasn't like he's special. He was, and people say yes, and people say, how dare you not say he wasn't special? He was, but he was just came to remind us of what we already have inside of us. That's and so that's why I experienced the man, not
I love that, because it's kind of like saying, like, I would come back as Brendan, my husband. Like, it's kind of like you saying that about Jesus, because I know you. I've known Maria for a long time, and we do work together and things like that. And I've heard you talk about Jesus before, and like, I don't call myself a very religious person, but I love the way that you talk about God and about Jesus and spirituality, and the way that you have shared who Jesus was. Because all I know is the Bible and being taught like in scripture in school, and
you'll never be him.
No,
you'll never be him. Like,
you'll never be on a pedestal.
And
like
you're a sinner. You're a sinner, and it's like, okay, like we're told our place in this world, and it's so like, it's sorry, continue. It's so sad to me that he came to show us who we are, and people go, no, you can never be that.
But but the way that I've learned this through you is like, Jesus was like a real person, like of course he was a real person, but he was a person, like a human, like you and me, except he just was so connected to spirit, to the divine, to creator, whatever you want to call it, to God. That's what he referred to that channel as. And it was just, I don't know, it was a big like, that's what was going on there. Like, I thought this guy was like some, big like like a mystic guy or whatever. And then you think about like through history, like there was like Gandhi and like people like that, and you're like, that was Jesus. He was someone who had this deep connection, or this open channel to the
exactly. How beautiful the way you described it. That's it. Like, go out and teach that. like you're a spiritual teacher. That's who she is. You know what I mean? Like, look at how she just described it. Like, that is like, what a beautiful way to describe it, and a beautiful reflection to, we can all be that. We all have access to that. Just the way Paula described it. He was a beautiful channel, and we all have that. But we're not
anybody could have been him. Like, anybody could have been that person at that time doing that. It's just that he wasn't anybody special, so to speak, in that regard. He was a human being like all of us.
He was a man, and he loved and whatever. But we make things become too like, beyond, like, even my dad used to always say, like, in the Catholic Church and everything, not every religion does, but the Catholic Church, Virgin Mary is something like, oh my gosh, like, she was, because she gave birth to Jesus, and it was the Immaculate Conception and all the things, right? Like, and my dad used to go, she was a woman. She was a real woman. But the church has made her something way beyond that. No woman will ever be able to be that.
Right.
And she was a real woman. And so we put this woman, the church puts this woman up here, and then we have hundreds of women sitting out there feeling less than because they'll never be that. It's just different patterns and different programming that we have inside of us. And it's like, we'll never be that. We can never be that. We can never, not that, most people don't look and think, I want to be her. Like, no, but there's already a gap between God, what God chose, and who we are. God didn't choose us, obviously. Like, are you kidding me? God created you like so incredible, each one of us, so magnificent. I look at our children, how dare, like, why you would never say that to your children. But we're shown this gap, like, that's perfection and we're not. And not that we normally think that, but most of our lives we do think that. I had time, I don't think that now. Like, I see all the perfection in all of us now, but it's like, that's how we begin. That's how we begin our lives. That's perfection. Jesus and Mary and whoever it is that you believe in or not, like, that's perfection. And somehow we are not that, we're not that good, we're not
Yeah.
we're not that, you know, like we are not, like God created us perfectly. I always say God did not create one perfect man, Jesus, and then fucked up the rest of us. Oops, sorry, I didn't know how to create. Like we are all created so perfectly, but then it's just playing it out here and choosing who we're going to be and finding ourselves. This whole journey is to find ourselves, to self-realize.
I just want to take it back just a little bit. When you said before about dropping all of that, dropping like who actually the God is, and you know, everyone's got different religions or different beliefs and that sort of thing. I'm got, you know, you guys, like I'm a little bit behind where you guys are at, but you know, can you expand on that, like dropping what you feel God is?
Yeah, so I love that. And when you say I'm a little bit behind, Paula knows me. I'm like, okay, fuck that. Let's stop that.
See,
Stop
Shona,
that right now.
Yeah, Marie's going to kick your ass.
Oh, yay. She already has once before. I'm ready for it again, I think.
No, like
Maria. She's like, no.
Loving way. In the most Paula's experienced this in the most beautiful, loving way, but I'm not available for you to not think that you are anywhere behind where Paula is or myself or anything, because you are the divine sitting there looking at me. Okay. Yeah. And I'm looking at you, and I'm looking at God itself sitting there, and all I see is fuck, it's perfect. Right. And God created you to be here, and I've got to look at you like, oh my God, she's incredible. She's I'm blown away by your presence. And when I see that and I step into that, like, couldn't you just literally look at her all day now when you're in that presence? I could just literally look at you and just be like all lit up, like all my cells, everything start like jumping up and down, because and now I'm seeing you differently now. And the more I see you like that, the more beauty I see in you. So whenever I do anything or speak to a client or have a client come on, whatever, I usually get a message from God, because I know exactly what you need to hear. Okay. So, and there's a theme for this one. And today God pointed me to a book. Okay. So it's just a book that I've had for many, many years, and it's Osho, right? One of the teachers. So I'm sharing, actually, usually I share just a lot of what God gives me. And lately I've been connecting to the golden chain of teachers, which is how I'm very much been led to Kundalini yoga teaching, which is also only when I do things that God leads me to, and then I find out all this stuff. I have to think, why am I here? Why am I like that? And then I find out all this stuff, and I will get to your question, Shona, but I found out all this stuff afterwards, that apparently, like Jesus, when he traveled all over the place, to learn, because he learned from masters, right? And probably Mary Magdalene and everything traveled with him, but Jesus traveled to all these places to learn. And one of the things, a lot of the teachings came from the Kundalini teaching, okay? Wow. Which is like, has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And then in 1968, 69, so 68 was when I was born, but Yogi Bhajan brought it to the United States and to the Western world. But otherwise, this was done by a group called sheiks, and they were just communities, and they would be passed down these teachings. And Jesus experienced these and would actually teach his disciples some of the practices, like to get that Christ consciousness, tap into that through the breath, and a whole lot of things. But why was I telling you all that? So one of the things, but when I begin, I connect through a mantra. I lead the people and connect to the golden chain of teachers. So it's one of the first things we do. So all the teachers that have come before us and things like that. And so now I'm like really connected to all the teachers, the masters that have gone past, but it feels, when I connect to them, it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm calling on them to need something. I feel like, oh yeah, I'm at that point where it's like, it's all of us. Like, it's just, we're at that level, right? And we're just connecting, like we're at that table, I call it, like we're at that table, we're all coming together. And so now I'm getting more and more from other teachers, which I've learned about in years gone past, but yeah, for some reason I feel led to share other teachings too. So what I was called, and this will answer your question about what the God, like that part about dropping everything into God. And this is beautiful because when I opened the book, I just open the book where God leads me, and then I'm led, and I thought, oh, this is for Shona. Yes, this is from what I know of you right now. So I'm just going to read this part, and that will make a lot of sense and actually answer your question. So Osho says, the inner music has a strange quality. And when I read that line, I thought, music, okay. You're like that rock chick and all the things. And you've got a very musical background, and your family has, and your husband and everything. I love it. So the inner music, God will always talk in a way that you can receive this, right? So you can receive this answer. So the inner music has a strange quality. Outer music needs an instrument. It needs a duality. So like the world we live in, duality. The musician, and so it needs a duality. It needs the musician and the instrument. The inner music does not need duality. The musician is the music. The musician is the instrument. The musician is all. There is no division. Zen people call it the sound of one hand clapping. No, one hand cannot clap. They are simply showing that inside. The sound of one hand clapping happens. Two hands are needed to clap. That is the outside music. In the outside, we need two hands to clap. That is the outside music, two hands clapping. It is easy for two hands to clap. And there is conflict, there is a struggle, there is a clash, right? So there's conflict, there's that, there's all that. So they are simply showing that inside. The sound of one hand clapping happens. Two hands are needed to clap. That is the outside music, two hands clapping. It is easy for two hands to clap. There is a conflict, there is a struggle, there is a clash. But the inner music, and it's called anahato, means silence, the sound of silence. Silence has its own music. It can be heard only by those who have dropped all noise from the head. Okay, so it can be heard only from the heart, not by the head. The heady person goes on missing it. Only the person who is full of heart, full of love, can hear the music. This is the music that helps you to go beyond. It becomes a rainbow bridge. You cannot grasp it with the mind. You cannot comprehend it with the mind. The mind has to be put aside, completely put aside. Anything that you have learned from the mind, it's just noise. It's just kept you away from what's within, the music inside of you. So the mind has to be put aside, completely put aside, and then suddenly it is there. That is the whole art of meditation, putting the mind slowly aside and getting to the inner music, becoming attuned to the inner world of oneness. You can call it the experience of God, Teo, truth, Dharma. It is really nothing but the experience of the ultimate music.
Oh, I got chills.
Wow.
That was amazing.
Isn't that the perfect answer to her question?
Yes.
Though? Like, I didn't even know when I was getting on, but I always know. Like,
and
one that you can receive, because I understand that you are filled with music in your life. And
I can relate.
And this is Maria's work too. I mean, I've had 2 life purpose sessions with you. I had my original one, and then I had, like, when I felt like things had shifted again, I came and had another reading with you. And I feel like that's what you're able to do. And I know everybody who has had a session with you, they've all, like, just had their minds blown. Like they're like
Yeah.
jaw on the floor, like, what the hell, Maria's like, you see our inner music, like, you know what that is. Like, you help us drop the mind chatter and all of the things of the mind, and you go directly into like our souls, and you're like, this is what it is. And I'm like, holy crap, that's what it is. Like when you get out of your head, you're like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. And that's your music, and dropping all that, like, and the clap, you know, like it's duality. You need this, you need, it's conflict. It's, although it can be like, it is used for greatness or you know what I mean? It can be that, but it's also like, that's life.
Yeah.
Like, look at the clap. It's loud. It's smashing.
Yeah.
It's conflict, right? It is. It's like,
it isn't just to be happy, but it's actually like, it's quite, you know, like you're smashing it. You're like,
yeah.
And inside, it's like there is a hand clapping. It is, but it's just this beat. It's just this, and so it's dropping. Yeah, it's dropping the music from the mind. It's dropping what we've been told, because we've just been like, you were enlightened when you came. When you were born, you were enlightened. You were an enlightened being. You that's when you knew it all, because it was just like, here I am. And you're one with all of life. Whatever is happening, you're one with all of life. And you just know, like, well, I'll just cry and I'll be fed, and I'll be like, you just knew how to get what you needed to. Like,
isn't that amazing? When you look at babies and they just know, like, the thing that blew me away the most when I first became a mother, in that first moment, and I had my daughter on my chest for the very first time, and her just making her way over to get milk, and I was like,
yeah,
how did she know?
Yeah.
What is this?
Exactly. Like, it's just
been here.
Yeah, and it's a knowing inside it. Like, how did I know that Shona would ask me that question, and that would be the answer? You know what I mean? Like, and so that's the silence inside of you, and it's just this silence. This, when we're in that, it's just this expansion, this expansion of the heart, like coming from your heart space. And so, like, if we look at the chakras and that, we've been experiencing, this is what the earth's been experiencing, like from our root chakra, and we've come up, and that's where all the fear and everything is. But our world has risen so much, and the energy has risen so much that we're here like in the Aquarian age, and we're living from our hearts. We should all be living from our hearts, and me and you just receiving, like, oh my God, I received so much just looking at Shona or Paula, or being in their presence, and what they have to share. Like Paula shared about Jesus before. It's like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, she would blow someone's mind if she told them, like, this is what, like, he was just his channel, you know, like, and we can all do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm here to do, to just remind everybody, like Jesus said, you will do greater things than I have done. Ye are gods. Well, I'm here to land that, because everybody else kind of will tell you all these things that Jesus said, but won't. And he never said that people were sinners, but they'll say that. But like, they don't tell us that other part, that ye are gods, and he said, you will do greater things than I have ever done. But it's like, if we mention that, it's like, how dare you say that? Like, why? You know, like, why? But that's when you're in that, when we drop everything from the mind, and that's why God has also led me to Kundalini yoga and to become a teacher now, because what I experienced through my awakening, like, and every day with God, I can bring people to that space with Kundalini and the breath and yoga and the different, and it's a real technology, because it connects you to the infinite, and so we receive the infinite into our body, right? And so also, like, when we drop our mind, because everything is the mind, and we're just projecting everything onto this screen, which is an illusion, but we look at it and we go, oh my gosh, that's happening, whatever. And it's like, no, we're at cause. We're projecting that. We forget who we be. We're projecting that, and then and it's usually telling us what we're thinking about ourselves.
Yeah.
And so if we just think, like, in that wholeness too, that we are one. And so there's actually only one of us here, and creation is just happening. And I can go down 50,000 rabbit holes and I see it, and I do. And I sometimes, like, I'm still aware because I have children, they got to do things on this earth and stuff like that. But I also come back to that place of, well, if there's only one of us here, and I am it, and you are it, and you are it in your world, like, connect to that wholeness of God within each one of us, and everything is God, everything is creation. It's just unfolding. And right now, like, I can tell you 50,000 things that are happening in the world, but the truth is, the only truth is that I'm sitting here with two beautiful beings, like two beautiful gods themselves, goddesses, whatever you want to call it, like two beautiful beings that, like, there is peace here, there is love, there is connection, there is everything, but we forget all this and we bring everything else into it. And we can say, yeah, that's happening, but yeah, it's happening because we're constantly, we're being told what to think. And so, and worse, not only do we look at our screen, but then we look at a television screen, and then we take that information in, and they know what to make us think. Because if we actually thought like God, we would just laugh in their faces, because it would be just like, that's strange, that's weird, I'm not available for any of that. Like, it's just like, we just wouldn't dive into that. But most people just went, okay, yes, oh my gosh. And but what God has said, share me, fill them up with me, let them understand their power. And then none of that is like, that shuts down, none of that, like, you're not controlled by any of that. But we look at creation and we just go, oh my gosh, that is happening, or that person is happening in my life. And the whole story of being here is, we make up a story about the body. So we enter this body, but it's not who we be. And that, again, that goes to the silence of who I really am. When you speak to your soul, if you stop and connect and speak to your soul or God or whatever it is for you, there is someone else speaking. When you stop your mind from telling you what, your mind will control you until you can control, like, you're meant to control your mind. This is this great creation, a machine that I get to control and create things with, and tell it what I want, and tell it what to focus on.
We kind of give the power of that away, don't we? That was that was just an epiphany that I had. Like, it's kind of like, we are supposed to be in control of our minds. It's a piece of machinery we were given in order to have this experience, and yet we constantly give the power of that away. We're like, tell me what I should think, tell me what I should feel. Like, we're always surrounding ourselves with things in our reality that kind of influence the way that we think and the way that we feel, and we associate one thing that happened, like an experience like this happened, so therefore, now that I'm experiencing this because of that experience, that's what I now think, because that's the person that I am. We associate so much with our identity as the human form, not as like the spirit.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And in the spirit right now, it's always at peace, at oneness, with oneness and everything. But we bring the past to everything. Our mind, through our mind, our ego was created, right? It's connected to the mind. And so our ego, our mind, and we don't have to tell our mind what to think, because our mind's going to tell us what to think, because the ego is like, don't forget to think this, don't forget to do this, don't forget you're not good enough, don't forget you're behind everybody else. Like, you're not. Your soul is like, I know just as much as they do. I know my truth. Okay, you know your truth. I know my truth. I've had an obsession since my awakening, or before, like, I was obsessed to just know what God, creator, thought. I didn't care for the thoughts of humans. I just thought, I want to know God's thoughts. And Abraham not Abraham Lincoln, who was it? E equals MC squared. Was it?
Oh,
Einstein.
Einstein.
Albert
Einstein.
Einstein.
Yeah. I love how you can say that and people just go, oh, Einstein. That's how you should be remembered, from your greatness. So he had a quote, I'm interested in the thoughts of God. Everything else is detail. And that to me was like, oh my God, that is my life. Like I'm interested in the thoughts of God. I wanted to know what God thought. I wanted to know, like when I started that communication with God, it was like I was obsessed because I want to know how you think. I want to know the thoughts of you, like, and why are we here? Why are we doing this? Why are we and so I'll be sharing that in experiencing God's, just a small transmission that I have coming up. But I want people to know, like, how we're living this life and we don't even know why we were created or what God was thinking. Like, I know what God was thinking. Like, what was God thinking to create us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've had those conversations with God. I've had that, and I love Paula's actually studying with me to be a Course of Miracles teacher, which is a teacher of love and miracles and God, and you can take it however you want. It's life itself. But what happens in that is that that channel opens up. That's how my channel opened up, because I was so obsessed to learn these things, and I was called by different teachers like Marianne Williamson and things like that. And then I started my journey in the Course of Miracles, and I dove so deeply into it because I was obsessed. But that's my truth. That's my path. It doesn't mean it's anybody else's path. That's what I came. But your truth is your truth, and you know enough. Like, your soul knows enough now. But we don't listen to soul. We listen to our mind, and our mind is always preoccupied with the past and what's happening out there.
Yeah.
And our soul is actually at peace and knows and has all the guidance and everything, But when I spoke about A Course in Miracles just then, it was like, that is what led me to open my channel. And that's why I share it with people too. And, and if anybody ever wants to be able to teach and like, join us, because it's just, but the obsession is to open that channel, to have that, to feel peace, like to not allow anything to take away your peace. You have that power within you.
Yeah. And that's so interesting you said that, because that was what I was like, I just want to, like, this, I want this.
Yes.
Like, I need to get out of my own head. I don't know what voices are mine. I don't know what somebody else's. And I was in this place, and that's when I'd had some sessions with you, Maria, and you're like, oh, I'm going to be teaching A Course in Miracles. And I was like, that's it. That's the thing. Okay, I'm in. Let's do this.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So yeah, it's so, and that's exactly what's happening. Yeah. And I feel like since I've started that, it's so much quieter up here now. And I'm sort of going through this phase this shift where that's all quietening down for me, and I'm really paying attention to what's coming through, because it's like, if you see somebody who's at peace and just knows stuff and just like, they're in the room and they'll just talk and they'll be like, yeah, and this, and that, and they don't need to stand up and yell at you, because they just know. They're like, yeah, this is just
exactly.
And it's like your mind versus like that connection, because that connection just talks to you, like, it's kind of like almost like a whisper in comparison, because your ego is just like standing out there yelling at you, going, we've got to do this and we've got to do that and blah 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 blah, because it's like, it's in like, we've got to survive this human experience. What do we need to do? We've got to be prepared, and we're going to be
we're being attacked. We're in attack mode constantly. Our ego, and our
egos. Sorry. No, I was just going to say ego. This is very interesting, because ego the one asking the question, what is my purpose?
Yeah.
Is it asking that? And really, I want to ask you this actually, Maria. If I say when somebody is saying, what is my purpose? How do you respond to that? Is it a thing that we should be all seeking? Or is it what Paul is explaining, that it's just a channel and you already are it?
Okay, so I have all the answers that came down. This is what it is, right? Because before I get on, like I was like trying to do my hair and stuff, and I'm like, okay, do this, tell them this, tell them that. Like I already, like, how do I already know what we're going to cover? Okay, so
I love you, Maria.
So God,
she just knows.
She does.
I've already received the answers before we get on. So I just want to share this with you. I did a post one, or in A Course in Miracles, it actually says, with one purpose only, I'm always certain what to do, what to say, and what to think. Okay, so that's a quote from A Course in Miracles. With one purpose only, I'm always certain. So with one purpose only, I only have one purpose, A Course in Miracles telling me. So I'm always certain what to do, what to say, and what to think. All right. So you have just one purpose. Okay. So then what the fuck is my purpose?
Yeah.
Like, you have one purpose. You have one purpose. And if you know this one purpose, then you are always certain. You'll always be certain. This is how I live my life. I know my purpose. And so I am always certain what to do, what to say, and what to think, even before I got on here. Okay. And then it flows and it's like, oh my God, this is like magic. I already have. And even if I didn't, God would just like, I would know, like God would just download whatever. You've both known exactly what to say, what to ask me. You're being led by God anyway, because this had to come out. This is what God wanted for us to share and for us to receive, for me to receive too. I'm receiving as I speak. It's a remembrance for me. And then for the people to receive too. But so with one purpose only. So you have one purpose, and that is to live. So your one purpose is to live the life that God created you to live. Okay, so A Course in Miracles says, with one purpose only, I am always certain what to do, what to say, and what to think. So what's my purpose? You only have one purpose, and that is to live the life that God created you to live. So every morning is waking up and think, okay, I'm going to be who God created me to be. Okay, the thing is that so it's within you, it's connection to your soul, it's opening that channel. You're always going to be led. Okay, the thing is that we live in a world that you've been trained and programmed and told you're behind and all this stuff, right? So this world doesn't want you to know. You identify more with your body, and you identify with what you're listening to. And right now, like we've been put into fear. Okay, we have been put into fear.
Yeah.
And that is not where we are the most productive, or there's only fear and love. Like A Course in Miracles teaches that. It's two things, that you're either in fear or you're in love.
Yeah.
And we've been put in fear. Yeah. And so the world, even at school and things like that, wasn't here to teach you, like, find your thing, do what God created you to do. Like it was here to train you in a way of thinking, train you to answer certain things, like
train you to look out here for answers and to follow people who have come before you. They're older, they know better, so just follow what they say.
Need all these things, which is great to learn. I'm always learning and whatever, but it's an inner journey that I'm in. And God calls me to different things, right? So so that's where my work comes into, and not that you need my work at all, but like it's such a blessing too.
But Maria's work is amazing.
Because
I was just going to say, yeah, we do.
Like you're here, your one purpose is to live the life that God created you to live, but nobody's told you what your purpose is. And you can find it. Like, you don't need me, you don't need any teacher, you don't need that. But still, I go to different people and I learn things. I've learned things from Paula. I've learned things about myself. I've learned, I have many people that fascinate me, and I want to be in their energy. Okay, I'm here because I want to be in your energy. Otherwise, I'm not here. I've got other things to do. God's led me here. Okay, God's created this. Like, this is no, like, it's no accident, it's no nothing. This is a gift, and this was brought to me because of my, like, it's brought, you know, each one of us has created this, but I know my part in creation, and it's like, oh yeah, this was this was created for me.
Yeah.
Like, each one of you have to think you're that important, that this was actually created for each one of you. Like, you guys are creators, but in my world, you also, like, oh my God, what a gift. They're supporting me. They're creating for, like, not that you're for me or under me or anything like that. It's like, but each one of us is creating with each other, you know, like, and you asked about the ego, and I've gone somewhere else.
No, it's all right. Just keep going with it. It's good.
No, but I wanted to answer your question. Oh yeah, so how do you know your purpose, and why are you asking about purpose and things like that? It's because, like, and we're also asking that question because there's something inside of us that wants to remember. But the ego will take you away from that, or will show you things outside of yourself and go, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. It's going to distract you. The ego would rather keep you, like, searching. Like, we're always asking how, okay? And God says there is no how. Like, the ego makes you ask how do I do that? How do I get there? How do I, how? There is no how. Okay, there is no how. But that is, God says that's the ego's biggest trick. Whenever you're asking the how, you're coming from ego, because it's like, there is no how. There is only, there's a state of being.
Yeah.
There's a knowing. There's removing that. That's the mind. How are we going to do this? Nothing that I've done has been like, there's this step, this step, this step, this step.
Yes.
You can't look back. Only when you look back, you became someone. It's who are you becoming, and who are you choosing to be right now?
Yeah. The first session that I had with you, Maria, when I did my life purpose, the first one, this is exactly what it was, is that I came to you and I'm like, Maria, tell me my life purpose. And you're like, all right, we'll do it. It's all good. And it was like, I remember the first thing that you said to me, you are the God of being. And there was something inside of me that just like went,
yes.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I was like,
and how, yeah.
And then the whole time that, like, you gave me so much information on so many different levels about this and what it looked like and all of these things. And you're right, it wasn't like this is how you're going to get from here to here and all of the things. Like, there was things in there that helped me understand, like, this is what it is. And in a way, it was kind of like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. Like, you already know. And it's very much about like your being, like, it's it's just like an inner knowing, and it feels so, I don't know, it's like a remembrance, like your whole body just kind of just goes,
it is like that.
That's what it is. And then it was just so, it was unlike anything, like unlike any other like session that I've ever had before, in that it was like you almost just had like this spotlight and you were just shining it in my soul and just saying, this is what I see here. And I was like, that's exactly what's there. And I knew that, but I never thought of articulating it that way. I never thought about it that way. It was the most amazing experience.
Yeah. So most of the people, so I love that we're here with the God of being, and she has actually evolved from the God of being to the God of source being. Okay, because sometimes our purpose will actually evolve. Like, mine's shifted and changed so many times because my work keeps getting deeper or expanding to different places, and now it is the God of autonomy, like that energy. I carry the energy of being autonomous, an autonomous being, like divine autonomy. And so, which is a beautiful reminder in these times. And it's like, you know, like, just, we have everything within us. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
Like if we know our power, we bring that back. But with Paula, like I remember like you had tears when I told you, because it just made sense in her body. See, the energy that I give you, like even most people I don't know that come to me, and I have, like, I don't know them. I don't, and sometimes they're not sharing on Facebook. It's not like I could piece things together, and I never do, because it's always greater than I could even think. But with Paula's one, like it was the God of being, right? So being is what you came to self-express. You are the expression of being. Like she was doing that. And most people are doing that, because a lot of people that I speak to, you're all very, like you are already aligned. You just don't realize your greatness.
Yeah.
But then when we infuse everything we do with our energy and we really know ourselves, then her whole work changed.
Trust.
Like it was the same. She was doing her work, but even she couldn't value her work. Like when we explored who she was and why she's doing this, and how she captures and how she brings that state of being to the people, and how she's capturing their state of being, and what she was teaching and what she was actually doing. Like she was so aligned to who she was, but we're not told who we are. We're not told exactly why God created us. And so we listen to everything else, or, oh, well, it's just, what has the world told us? It's a selfie. Like that's not what she does. But that's what your mind was telling you too, like for a long time. And it's like, I just feel like I've done as much as I can, like with this or whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh, no, she has such a great journey. And then you felt there was a shift, like and I could see, like, I love Paula, because when I give her anything, like this is the magic of her and her state of being, that she actually, like, I can see she actually takes, and that's what I do in my life purpose too. Like she actually takes each sentence and like milks it. Like I can see her work, and she just milks it, and I can see it like through it, right? And then she felt like a shift, and she came back to me. And sometimes it can be like completely different. Like at one stage I was divine presence, divine love, and then I've, other people I've shared those with other people. But then when she came back, and I want to share this, because imagine knowing this stuff about yourself, and what I share with you in a life purpose session, like it blows me away, right? I don't know what you are until that very first sentence comes out. And so she came in 2019, and then in 2020, it was, your essence, Paula, is source being. So it's not just being, the energy of being, and that she is that, and she does that through her work and everything, but she became source being. It was like a deeper work. So now she was not only capturing her being and sharing all that, and she was doing that with the beings, but source being. So now God says, so now you create the beings. She went from being and sharing how to be and capturing that and all that stuff to now you create the beings.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. So here's God, your creator, saying to Paula, now you create the beings. You now not only capture their states, but you are them. You create them. You are one with them. You are the God of source being. Now let's dive into this. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to keep reading a bit more, because it's like,
go for it.
This is who Paula is. This is who Paula is. But imagine knowing this about yourself. And each person is so individual and so incredible. Like I'm blown away by each one of these. I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like it's so cool. Okay, so, and then God spoke about your purpose. So Paula's purpose as the source being is, so your purpose, your motivation of being here. And this is God, your creator, speaking to, okay, this is the words of creator, not me. It comes through me. I am that channel that then can speak to Paula. So Paula is to connect with every soul of humanity and show them who they be. You have felt this call, you know this. There is no coincidence. Okay, there is no coincidence that Maria speaks and you are drawn. That's why she's been drawn to me. Okay, because we do very similar work in different ways, because we're all very unique. But we actually create the beings. We actually elevate the beings, right? So the people are aware of who you be. We are magical source in all that you be. So we become this magical source in all that she be's. And can't you see that in her work?
Yes.
Okay.
Far out.
Right? So you
Mhm.
can see that in her work. So you create worlds. You create
Paula.
worlds. Like, oh my God, she does, because she captures, that's all this screen is. And she does that when she, any photo, that is a universe in itself. That takes me somewhere, that makes me feel, that brings me to a place where I can feel, like, just like I'll do it through Kundalini or just my connection to God or things like that. That's how she does it. She creates a new world. She creates a new universe. She captures something that is a universe in itself. That's just as real. That picture is just as real as the projection that you're looking at. Okay, but I can get lost. We get lost in her pictures. We experience something, right? And then, like, I'm going ahead of myself, but then she makes us put ourselves in the picture, in this world, in this universe. She creates these beings. It's just like God's saying, you're like me. You're creating. That's how I create. I create these beings and put them in this incredible world. Then their mind takes them wherever they want and they project. So imagine, I'm still getting downloads. So imagine this,
it.
like I get a sentence and then I'm off. Like, imagine Paula's like image, perfection. She's in it. Sometimes her children are in it. Perfection, the sky, the ocean, everything, perfection. That is creation. That is what exists right now. That is, she captures creation. She captures a new world, right? The feeling, the love, the expansion, the everything. Even if it's just here, like, look at her. Oh my God. It's God itself. Like, it's beautiful. It's, oh my gosh, it's creation. And she captures that. And then our mind, which is, so she's being God right now. This is how God creates. Okay. Just, it's like, and God has shown me it. The way God knows us, the way God knows us is, I'm just going off again. The way God knows us is like, God has shown me, like, because God knows us, the soul of us, right? But God is so expansive in everything, but also so intimate to where we are, like to where we are right now. And God just knows us in our truth, like, but we'll pick up how does God knows where I am in this moment? It's like a slide that God sees. It's like, okay, and whatever's around there, like, everything will be like printed on that picture, and it's like, okay, that's where she is at. That's cute. Okay. Like, that's no judgment, no nothing. That's just where she's at. Okay. Like, I may have suffering at that point. I may have whatever. I may be in peace. I may be whatever. It's like, okay, that's where she's at. Okay. Like, and life will bring me different things to show me where I'm at, but there's never any judgment. It's just like that. But it's also like an image. So imagine Paula's beautiful new world, new earth, new, like the image that it's just like, that's creation. God's saying, you are creating like me. But then what happens? It's so perfect and it's still there. But we then use our mind and our ego and everything. We use our mind to put all this shit onto this picture.
Yeah.
Okay. We put all this shit onto this picture, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can't see. It's still there. The image is still there. The perfection, the creation that God created, it's still there. The person, the beautiful creation in her picture is still there. But all of a sudden we have all our past. We bring our past into that image. We bring worries about the future. We bring
all the judgments and everything.
All the judgment. And then,
things, yeah.
And so that's imprinted, and we bring people with other bodies, like, to show us what we're thinking. So these people show up and they'll be like, and we create beautiful beings too, like they show up in love, our children and things like that, and people that love us. And then there's these other beings that create chaos in our picture. And then all of a sudden they're on the beach too, and they're on that picture, that beautiful picture of creation that Paula shared. And all of a sudden it's like it's filled with so many things, but then I make it real. Then it's like, oh my gosh, then I don't live from the creation and the beautiful picture that she created, or I saw myself in, I was put in. All of a sudden, we're looking at all the other things that we've put on there that aren't even real. And then we make decisions not from the first image of creation that still exists, that is us, that's that peace inside of us, that awareness, that soul, that we're already there. We then make decisions from all the shit we've plastered on top of it. All the things we needed out of lack, and all the things to tell us. And so now we make decisions from there. So all of a sudden it's like, where are we? How can I even see myself? How can I even see my purpose? How can I see?
It's so true, because how often can you not see what's right in front of you because you're not actually looking for it? You're focusing on all the other things.
Yeah.
And it's like that with our own purpose. And it's like we're focusing on so much of this, but it doesn't even matter. But that's what we've been told, and we've been, we've sort of trained ourselves to take, like, to focus on, when it's actually right here in front of us. And it was like that when you told me that, I was like, that was in front of me the whole entire freaking time. And the amount of times that I've had people that I've worked with say to me, like, you've changed my world. Like, I don't see myself the same as what I used to, and all of these things. And when you said that to me, I'm like, yeah, I do that. Like, that's
you changed my world.
Yeah,
you changed my world.
And they see themselves differently. And it's the way that I see them and the way that other people see them, but we see ourselves so differently because of all the stuff that we're supposed to be focusing on that's not good enough, and all of the things that we don't actually see our true selves. We don't see that beauty and that soul come through.
Exactly. We make stuff so complicated, don't we? We make life so complicated when it should be really extraordinary.
Exactly. It's so extraordinary. But like, just hear Paula just saying, like, and I show them how to be and things like that. And we listen to all this and whatever. Like, don't tell me that Jesus didn't teach those things. Like, don't tell me that you're not the Jesus of our time now. And just that line that you said, like, we make things complicated, and when really it should be extraordinary. Like, Jesus didn't teach anything more extraordinary than that. What Jesus taught is quite simple. Okay, it had a lot of meaning, if you understand. Like, I could talk about it forever. But even that, just that one line. I can say, Shona said this, and oh my gosh, and blah, 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 blah. And this is like, I can teach about that. But each one of you see how each one of us has that Jesus inside of us, that we have our own truths. We have our own teachings. And that's all that matters. Like, the beauty that you both shared now is like, oh my gosh, my life is changed. My life is filled. Like, I receive that. And that is life-changing for your people. But we always think it's got to be this, that, or whatever. And that is like, that's what they come to you for. But imagine, like, Paula now knows who she is. She knows the depth of her work, the depth of her. So it's like she can play with this energy that she is. And not only is, like, when this happens, not only is Paula activated, but like, I want you to come forward, because to me, it's like, not only is it about you, to me, it's the planet is activated with your energy, because your energy, like, these are just bodies, but which are incredible, but your energy goes right through creation, from one end of the horizon to the other, the whole 360 degrees, right? All of it. And your energy goes right through that. But right now you're walking around going, unless you're telling yourself, I'm God walking around this planet, but you have a flavor of God. You have this energy of God. And God tells you, because I can say, oh, you're source energy. Or source being, sorry. You're the God of source being. Okay, thank you. That's awesome. I'm that part of God. But then God breaks it down to you to make you understand. And I'm like, this coming through me, and I'm typing, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, oh my
That's
gosh, we're
brilliant.
being shown all these images. So what she does is you create worlds, experiences from their lives within. You capture their stories, but it is about the depth that you now reveal. Okay, so there's much that we get to play here. You are everything right here, right now. You are an ecstatic expression of all that is. Like, isn't that Paula? Like, she captures and she's just like an ecstatic expression of all that is.
Yeah.
Now this has come about at this time because of who you be. You see, you were brought here to express that version of them that they can only see, but you bring that forth. In your dreams, you imagine this day would be, but you never knew how. Well, here we are, here we be. You are forever representing source in everything that you be. So you are, like God's saying to you, you are source itself, creating these images, creating these things. You're creating, it's creation that you're doing. And you know this. And the way this feels good is that way it will be. The way, like, it feels good for her, that's when she knows, I'm in creation, because I'm lit up, I'm excited, like she's being her, she's not trying to be anybody else. And you love to talk about love and the expression that we be. Well, there will be more of that coming about as you speak. Okay, but this continues and this goes deeper and deeper. So your mission is to show the people how to fully live in each moment. What are they choosing to be? What are they choosing to bring in? We are here to live the most ecstatic life of their dreams, and yet we forget who we be. Like, who is living like that right now? Are we living like that? Is most of humanity living like that? No, she's the Jesus we need to listen to right now.
Yeah.
She's the Jesus that reminds us of who to be, reminds us of to bring that back.
Yep.
Okay. And then imagine when Paula knows herself like this, and this is like, you need to affirm this again, okay? Because you get this at a different level every time.
I do.
Yeah. And also people say, yeah, but when you say it, when I say it back to somebody, like some people say, oh, what about this? I want to know a bit more about this. And I give them the exact line that I gave them a year or 2 years ago. And they're like, oh my gosh, I get it. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. And it's like, it's the same line that is in your life purpose session, but my voice is a transmission, so when I say it to you, it's like you feel it in your body. It activates. It
really
exactly.
does. I found with our sessions, and you give the notes and you also give the recording as well, and I find it so much more powerful to listen to instead of just reading the notes, listening to the recording and listening to you say it to me, because I'm like, that's what it is. Like, it lands on this deeper level.
But
and I'm like, but it's like, I know that's what I do, but at the same time, it's like what you were just saying, like, when it feels good, I know that I'm in alignment. Like, that's for us as human beings in our experience, like what feels good for us is in alignment for us. But we kind of think that, like what Shredder said, we overcomplicate it. We're like, but this feels too good, like this can't be it. Like, it has to be harder than this. It has to be like something deeper than this. But that was a big thing for me to get my like my ego kept saying, but like, it's just selfies. This isn't deep. This isn't deep work. Nobody cares about this. People like, this is just like whatever. But just understanding, like, the more that I dive into and share, like, what is actually the purpose of a photo though? Like, we can take a selfie and make us look great and blah, blah, and all the things, but what's the purpose? Like, what are we actually doing? We're showing people our soul. Like, that is deep.
Yes, exactly, right? And like God said in that sentence, like, you are source creating. You're creating like me. Like, that's how I create. I have this image and then it's portrayed there, like it's created. And you are actually creating universes, because it's just like little parallel realities, like, that we capture, and it's just like a thought. A thought is captured and then it creates, like, but you create it in images, just like God does. God thinks of something and it's like, we're all living in the mind of God. We are all a thought in the mind of God. We've never left. We've never left. We're just in the dream. We're creating this, and this dream can be Like you can have a dream and you think when you're in the dream, it's so fucking real. And you can think whatever, right? But the whole thing, like, and it's not that this doesn't matter. It does matter. But what is your dream going to be? Is it going to be the nightmare, or is it going to be like, we can have a nightmare? We're experiencing a lot of us are experiencing a fucking nightmare because a lot of us have forgotten who we are, who we be. Yeah. And so, and we're not enough and stuff like that. So you don't need to, you just have to live the life. Your one purpose is to live the life that God created you to live. The thing is, like I say, you don't need me, but holy shit, if you get my information, then you begin from there. Like imagine beginning from there, and imagine thinking everything I create, like it matters, and you understand why you're creating, and you understand your energy behind it. And so her energy is like, I'm creating these beings. Like you've got to have that attitude. Like I'm with God. I am like, God's called me to create these beings. Like when somebody lands at your, like at anything, any of your work, like there is like, if someone comes to me, like just like when Paula comes to me, it's like, I know she's being called big time. Okay. And Shonia's worked with me too. You've done another session with me, a different session. And a lot came out too, like, and I just want like, oh my God, I want to tell her everything else that wants to come through, you know what I mean? Like, but even in that session, you got to see your greatness of what God thinks of you, and just I wanted to tell you, like, I'm in the presence of someone fucking incredible, like that you are, like, and God wants you to know more and share more and things like that. But imagine like knowing this, and then knowing that value, and knowing that you are a part of God, and knowing that you are God itself, and an energy, a flavor of God, just a part of God. You are God itself, but you bring that energy and you matter so much to this world. And then anything that you do, you're bringing, like, it doesn't matter if I'm in a cafe or wherever, I bring myself, I bring my energy, like, and then it's like, you're welcome. I just bless this place just being here. Like you're a blessing to anyone, and anybody that comes to you is like, God's brought this person to me. There are no accidents.
This is brilliant. And sorry, I just like, I do like going back to when you were saying about my session, and it's like what Paula said, it was like shining a light, but it was just like this crack open wowness that simplified things for me. I expended, so much energy trying to find the deeper purpose, like Paula was saying, trying to find the deeper thing that, but really I need to just focus the energy on what I've got here and what I am and what I be. So yeah, definitely, if you're looking for the same experience, if not more, please get in contact with Maria. Far out. She is amazing. This conversation has been absolutely full. Like I could listen to you all day.
We'll have to get you on again, Marie, because there's so many rabbit holes I want to dive into with you.
Because I had like 5 other things I was going to share with you too for this conversation. So like the God's going, share this. So, but always the perfect thing comes out, what needs to come out. And I love that you just like, and people look at you and each one of you, and just like, all I can see, okay, this is how I see, but all I can see, and I hope you can see that too, like even if you see this, like I just see, like from your first question, who would I want to be? I'd want to experience Jesus, because he's been shown as the ultimate. And the only reason he's a real man, he doesn't want to be known like that either. Why? Because he had that channel, like Paula was saying, he had that connection. He knew my Father and I are one. He meant my thoughts are one with God. And that's what A Course in Miracles teaches you, to think like God. It's a mind training, and to think like God. And everything I do is to bring God, to remind you of the God that you are, to remind you of the God within. Like, and you're perfect right now. You don't need anything. But it's just like, one thing I will share with you is a miracle does nothing. Like I teach a course in miracles, right? And a miracle, there are miracles. You can have miracles, but really the makeup of a miracle, it does nothing. The miracle only shows what's already there. And if we come back to Paula's picture, the miracle was that picture. And the miracle, that is the miracle, but it's covered with so many things, and the miracle is already there. The miracle of your healing, of anything that you desire, the money, the healing, everything, it's already there. You've already been given everything. But everything, so the miracle just removes what's blocking, what's it just removes that, and then or the beliefs and things like that, and then like the miracle's already there. It's already God's creation is already there. The perfection of you, the perfection of everything. You are that. And so never do we have to say anymore, we are, and I understood your thing, but we say it all the time, and but you're not behind. You are absolutely fucking perfect. You are God itself. Like you are God itself on this planet. God chose you to be here, especially now. And each one of us. And so all I see is my ultimate looking back at me in each one of you. And I'm sure if anybody looked at you, like the three of us actually look like Jesus right now. Like even the pictures they depict of Jesus, we actually look like that right now. Like you guys look like you've turned into Jesuses. Like if you had to choose people to play the part of Jesus in a movie, it's like, any one of us could play that part. You know what I mean? It's so funny. You're becoming that in the sense, it's like I feel like I'm sitting there, like my experience with Jesus, I feel like I am having that experience with you guys.
Yeah.
I am experiencing that. But that's where we elevate people too. Like we are that. We are that. But when we remember and when we commune and and we have fun and everything, and like, sorry, we'll go. But I just have to share that what went wrong in our world, and of course Miracles teaches, and it's Jesus teaching through A Course in Miracles. So what went wrong in our world is that a tiny mad idea entered our mind. And we actually thought this was real. And the tiny mad idea was that we forgot to laugh. We forgot to be in joy. And that was it. And we went into fear. And so we've created this whole shebang. But if we come back, we forgot that we were meant to laugh.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time we feel guilty for having a good time. Like, I should be working harder. I should be more concentrated. I should be blah, blah, blah. But like, it's so true. I think this has been one of the most beautiful parts of me on my entrepreneurial journey and finding my purpose, and working with people like you, Maria. It's like you keep reminding me, like, what is fun? What fuels you with joy? Do that. And you're like, but that's too simple. I'm not supposed to be doing that. That's just goofing off and and not being.
That's exactly what she sounded like.
Yeah. I was like, it's just selfish. It's like, no. What's the deeper stuff I'm supposed to be here for? Like,
and then she cried.
It's that.
She realized.
Yeah.
I did. I cried before when you reread it too. I'm like, that's what it is.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Maria, how can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, so just on Instagram, Maria Portas, or Facebook. Don't go to a website because I haven't updated in 5,000 years. So everything moves so quick, and I shift and move and whatever's coming through me. So Instagram and Facebook are the places. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, want to know more about anything, and I'd like to offer something too. I will. If anybody comes through this, this episode, this episode, sorry, audio or whatever. If anybody comes through this episode, just message me, let me know, and I will actually give them a discount for like
you're
a life
amazing.
purpose
Thank you so
session,
much.
like a huge chunk of it actually. I will do that because I just want like just see the beauty in Shona, see the beauty in Paula, and that's how you can feel. That's how, like, I want you to feel like who they are and the joy that they bring. I mean, you guys are like that. You laugh, you know what I mean? Your whole thing, you're laughing a lot of the time, just going, like laughing at each other. Like, what if we laughed? What if in the beginning when all this shit show happened, we just laughed?
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine.
Like, ha 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 ha, like, oh my God, like just laughed at, because that's not our truth. That's, if we had laughed in the beginning and just went,
yeah.
But we went into fear, and that's how
magnified
they
it.
Yeah, that's and we amplified that. But if we just laughed and we were enjoying, it's like, it's fine. Like, no, thank you. It's okay. Like, ha ha ha. And just turn off the TV, do all those things and just in joy. We know that our souls enjoy. We like, it's joy to be around you, God. So I love you so much.
I love you.
I love you.
It must be why they say laughter is the best medicine. Like it's
Absolutely.
the best thing for everything.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, Maria.
Exactly. I feel like someone needs to create like just a laughing show. We just jump on Zoom and we just laugh and laugh and laugh.
I agree.
Yes, that's a great
Yes.
idea. Because
Love
laughing is
it.
contagious.
Everybody meet at 11:11 and just let's laugh for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
love
Hashtag
it.
turn the TV off.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Maria. This
Yes,
has
thank
been an
you.
absolute pleasure and an honor to have you on. And if you need to know more about Maria, definitely go check her out because life-changing, absolutely life-changing the work that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I was so excited to be in your energy and just like both of you are just so beautiful and I love all the work you're doing. It's just, the honor's mine to be here. So it's so beautiful. I love it. Thank you. Mwah.
Oh, I love you, Maria.
Kisses all around.
Wow, Rose! Wow, Rose!
Wow, Rose.